Hello and welcome to another episode of Dual Senses, where we give our 2 cents on all things PlayStation. I am Stephen Morrow, and usually I am joined by Alex Wolf. However, he is still on paternity leave. And real fast, before we get into this episode, there's going to be a slight difference, I guess. So we've been on hiatus for a little bit, getting ready for some changes and new additions and things like that. But I actually had a sort of family issue come up. So I'm actually in New York right now recording. So instead of having like a normal grand return episode, we can consider this a sort of like bonus episode or a soft return, I guess. But we're going to go back to having regular news coverage weekly after this week. But for now, on this episode, we have a special guest. And we are going to be discussing the recent state of play that revealed the Horizon Forbidden West gameplay for the first time. So, sorry things have been kind of delayed, and this episode is going to be a little bit different. In the middle of recording different segments and everything, like I said, I had a little family emergency. But anyways, things will be back to normal in a little bit, and for now, just enjoy this episode, and enjoy our special guest. She is pretty awesome. Also, it should go without saying that there will be Horizon Zero Dawn spoilers referenced in this episode, and if you have not seen the Horizon Forbidden West State of Play, we recommend that you watch that before you listen to this. Or not, it's up to you, but just know that there will be spoilers discussed in this episode. Alright, hello again. This is Steven again, and I am here with Sarah.
Hi.
Otherwise known as Hufflehug.
Yes.
On Twitch. You can find her occasionally streaming some games and doing some things.
Hoping to do more soon.
Yes. Together soon, hopefully.
Yes. Oh my gosh, please.
But we have important matters to discuss. Because there was new Horizon gameplay revealed. And I know you feel a certain way about Horizon.
Oh my god, it's just a great series that doesn't get the recognition it deserves. Like, I feel like it really should be up there with Skyrim, like as seen as far as like game, like how
like top
great,
tier.
Yeah, of a game. It to me it should be an example of what games should be. Like video games of that kind of genre should be. Mm-hmm. It's up there. It's very like that sets my standards for like other video games.
Well, I'm definitely curious to see how the sequel pushes everything forward.
Yes. Yeah.
So just jumping into it, I'm just going to give like some details from the State of Play. For any listeners, if you haven't already seen the State of Play where they did the Horizon reveal, yes, please watch it. A lot of the things that we talk about are going to make more sense. But I'll just go through some like key bullet point details, and then we're going to give our thoughts and analysis, I guess,
and
of
general
what we saw.
Excitement, enthusiasm.
Yes, and probably a lot of just giddy excitement.
Fangirling, it's fine.
But basically, so they did the Horizon Forbidden West gameplay reveal during a State of Play recently, and first and foremost, the game looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
Just like the original.
The opening scene of just her in the jungle and this fallen Vanguard soldier in the jungle. Just her, the jungle scene, the light, we were talking about the lighting of it.
Yeah.
It just like the light poking through the trees and like the ambient sounds of it. And like you just see Aloy in like the jungle like themed armor that she's wearing. And it's just, it's just the greens and the colors and it's just beautiful.
The greens and the colors.
Yeah.
I have, like, I'll get into that later. First, some things that I noticed as far as, like, specific details, traversal has been, severely up... Sorry, I'm, like, excited. I'm getting excited and I'm getting all tongue-tied. The traversal seems very updated. So, like, the climbing, instead of having, like, clearly obvious, like, handholds, you can sort of use the...
focus.
Thank you. Focus to reveal where things are climbable.
Which I think is more organic. You have this device that's smart technology, right?
Yeah.
From the past. And I like, in the first game, I think what they were going for is, like, it was marked by braves that had been there before you.
Mm-hmm.
And that they were marking these pathways you could take. And then I like in this update of this game you play, it's like the focus is showing you, is mapping it out for you, like these are possible spots to climb and do all this, like the grappling hook thing, like these are all, like, I like that because that is very much like it's a great way to make it feel organic to that world and that world's rules, and without making it seem like, hey, big yellow thing here that you can climb.
Exactly.
Like,
and like from what they showed, so the focus will highlight where things are climbable, but it seems like you can still climb it without needing the focus.
Without,
So that can kind of allow you to, like, if you want to see your options, you can see that. Which I feel like options is one of the main themes that they're going for. Letting you kind of choose how you approach different situations. Because they have, like, the climbing, they also added swimming. She has, like, a breathing apparatus that allows her to breathe underwater, basically. And
I'm interested to see where that's, like, with the story. That's going to be, like, how they give you that and, like, explain it. Like, it's going to be so cool.
I'm curious about, like, underwater exploration. Like, is that going to be a really fleshed out thing? Or, because in the gameplay demo, we basically just saw she used underwater to get from one point to another. But I'm curious if there's going to be more, like, underwater ruin exploration.
I think there will be, because did you notice the map at the end? Florida's completely gone, half of California's gone. And you remember from the first game, in this world, before the monster, like the machine disaster of everything going rogue and eating everything in Earth, they had climate change and they had that problem. And
you're picking up on all the details. Oh my god.
I played this game so many times, and the story really is what's captivating to me about the game, is just this. It's not impossible. You know, like, you play a lot of, like, dystopian games, and you're, like, the story of how the world ended, you're like, wow, that's, like, this is possible. Like, it's crazy. And, you know, in the stories, and a lot of the lore in the story is in the main storylines, so unless you go and look for it, you're not going to get all of it. But
like the different, like, audio files that you can collect.
But in, like, in these little audio files, like, it's talking about how, like, residents of Florida having to move inland because Florida is being completely covered up. And I think in California, because if you looked when she was underwater, you could see buildings under the water. So I absolutely think that she, like, and I think there was one thing in Florida that they had to go get. If you looked on these little the map at the end of the state of play, they're looking at that map of North America, and, like, Florida, and there's, like, a little point there of, like, where things they're looking for are. Yeah. So I have a feeling there might be, like, a whole, like, section of underwater exploration.
How big of a world map?
That's what I'm thinking, because, like, in the first one, it's, like, Utah, Wyoming, because it's part of, like, it's got, you know, you've got the, what's that national park with Old Faithful and everything in that, because that's part of it. Yellowstone. Yeah, the whole Yellowstone, and then, like, Colorado, and then I think, like, a little bit of what's west of Colorado is, like, the main area. So that's really a big area, but it's not, like, the whole map of North America that we're seeing. That's why I'm, like, a little excited. Are we going to explore more of, like, this dystopian, after climate change, after the robots ate everything, like, North America? It'll be really interesting and cool to see, like, the different areas. That's why I'm really excited about just the Forbidden West, like, seeing, like, the rest of California and the rest of the west coast of the United States and what it's going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, I like seeing, like, we saw the bridge. And
Golden Gate Bridge,
seeing, there's something kind of magical about seeing just, like, familiar landmarks torn to shit.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think it's cool, too, because in the first game, like, those vantage points in the first game that showed, like, you could look into the past to see what it was. But, like, it's cool because it's even more futuristic from what we are used to as well. Like, what they're seeing.
Yeah.
And it's, like, it's little nods, too. Like, it's cool to play in a world that's not made up, but it's not this fantasy land, like Skyrim or, you know, another, like, made-up world. It's our world, and it's just, like, in a completely flipped up, upside down, completely different way, but it's still, like, we can recognize it, which I think helps with, like, the immersion of the story. Like, we recognize our landscape, and we notice these things, and it just makes you feel like like almost like at a home like at home sense, but not.
Yeah, it's
like,
comfortable but uncomfortable.
Exactly.
At the same time, and it's just relatable.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, so swimming,
which is stunning. The coral reefs and like when she was swimming, I like the nods at the old machines. They're still there too. Like not the old machines, but like the machines from the first game. Like they didn't just like completely get rid of those. Like they're putting them in different environments all over the world.
And like I know I'm probably gonna say this like a million times, but the lighting.
Oh my gosh.
The way that the lighting trickles through the water, and I didn't notice it until right before recording this where we rewatched it, which is why I'm like re-excited. But like the way that the light was shining through some of her hair.
Yeah.
Like the ends of her hair where there were less strands, like more light would come through.
Yep.
It looked gorgeous. Like I thought the lighting in the first game was phenomenal, and it seems like they're just carrying that trend into the next one.
Yeah, they're like adding to it.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
But I mean, on top of swimming, they also added a fucking glider.
Oh my gosh.
So I feel like every game is getting a glider.
The first time I watched this state of play, I weaned all day, and I sat with Zach, and Zach was as excited for. He was excited for me. Mm-hmm. And I'm just sitting there, my mouth open the whole time. I'm like, I look at Zach, and even Zach would be like, and we both just sitting there with our mouths open like, holy shit. When the glider came out, because one of the biggest pet peeves I had about this game, it was fall damage. Because you're in Colorado, there are mountains, you're high up on mountains fighting these machines. Next thing you know, you're running for your life, you turn around, you accidentally fall off a freaking mountain and die, and then that's it, and you have to start all over again. So the fact that they gave us this to help us with that, but not only, like, I love that she used it during combat, too.
Yeah.
It's a way of traveling. It's a way to help you during combat. It's great. I'm so excited for just the littlest things. Like, it's going to make it 10 times better.
Yeah, it seems like the combat is ingrained in all of the different traversal methods.
Yeah.
So you can fight while gliding as well, and they mentioned using that like as sort of a stealth or a tactical approach as well. But fighting on top of like a mount, you can ride more of the robots and things like that, which I know you could do that in the first game. With some of the robots, but it seems like they're fleshing that out more.
Right.
The melee attacks with the staff things seem a lot more fluid and more dynamic.
The melee in the first game, and I'm one of those people, like, I get impatient when battling. I get your strategic, but sometimes I'm like, I just want to freaking kill it. Like,
I just want to hit it with a stick.
Hit it with a stick, and but in the first game, it's like you had 2 melee hits. You had your light attack, and then you had your heavy attack. That was it. And we're all like, okay, like her spear is a big part of how she's battling. Why isn't it more of a focused on, like, why don't we get more things with the spear? Like, you have a couple upgrades throughout the game, but it's never what it is now. So the first time I saw this, I was like, oh my god, this is going to be as good as her bow. Like, you're going to get as many upgrades and different modifications to your spear as you will for your bow ammo and your different, like, what are they called? The slingshots. Like those, yeah. So those different kind of weapons. I'm like, finally, like, why was this, like, I feel like, too, Gorilla is very active on the subreddit for Horizon.
Interesting. I haven't been on the subreddit for Horizon.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of for complaints about the first game were listened to.
Okay. And
I love that. I love that they fixed, like, if you notice that scene where you really see the spear, the additional spear stuff come into play. The human combat in the first game, it's like almost like it's too easy. Like, I'd rather fight a human in this game than I would a machine, which, okay, but like humans are just as dangerous. I mean, if you, like, in the first game, that's really like humans caused all of this shit. Yeah. So the fact that, like, we were fighting other humans in this game and they're okay to battle. Now, like, you see the big tank guy come out, like, the one that was like, oh, you think you're gonna hurt me or something?
And then it does this, like, cinematic, like thing. She's like, yeah, I fucking do. And she just attaches the thing and screws it on. And
onto her spear and just bam. But, like, it's also
like, cool electrocutes him.
I liked when he picked her up, he threw her down. I'm like, wow, this really feels like an even match. It doesn't feel like, I mean, don't get me wrong, Aloy's a badass, and I'll get into that later, but holy shit, like, just, like, the different, like, it feels like a challenge all throughout the whole game versus, oh, let me go through all these, people.
Yeah, just, like, hit them, move on to the next, hit
right,
them.
and then focus on the machines. It feels like equal balance, which I loved.
Yeah, and, seeing the combat, it just seems so much more dynamic and fluid. Going from one type of combat to the next
another.
is, like, it's just such a smoother transition.
Yeah,
and the way that her staff fighting, she was, like, combining, the combos were just, like, going right into each other.
Yes.
And the character reacting to it, and like you said, him, like, picking her up and then throwing her down
right.
and stuff. Like, all of that, really nice. I want to get my hands on a controller so that I can play it.
I know, and, like,
because I want to know how it feels.
Yeah.
But it looks like it feels just as good, if not better, than the first one.
I love it. And, like, like you said, I was going to say the combination, like, hits just perfect. And
already, it's just, and
okay. That's also something that there's not really much in the first game, and, like you get your, like, your certain hits, you can do, like, critical damage hits, things like that, but there's not really this combination of using your different weapons at the same time, which is so cool to see. It's so cool to see.
So, like, on top of that, they showed, we mentioned, or earlier we were talking about how in the first game you could steal weapons and stuff from the robots, like knock them off and then use them against the robots. That's coming back with this one. It seems like there are a lot more options, at least during the little... So after the state of play, or after the gameplay reveal, they go into, like, a little bit more details on what we can expect and things like that. And it seems like that's something that they're going to kind of do a bit more of. With some more variety. There were, like, a purple laser launcher thing. I like that.
That was, like, I think it's, like, it was so cool. I mean, like, the machines themselves, I could just go and talk about all the machines themselves in this new game. Because, holy shit, and like I said, I love that we get a combination of the machines from the previous game, but we get all these new machines, too, because we're in a new environment, in a new area.
We've got, so, the new machines that we saw this time, there's a fucking mammoth. I think they call Tremor Tusk?
Tremor Tusk.
Tremor Tusk.
And then there was the Claw Striders, which are basically velociraptors.
But with, and get this, chainsaw mouths.
Two chainsaws as their jaw at the bottom. Just insane. And you know what? I wanted to say something when we were watching it, but I'm like, no, I'm going to save this for the podcast.
Uh-oh.
So, I don't know if you ever picked up on this in the first playthrough of Horizon of Zero Dawn. Gaia who is the AI, who is the creator of, like, she was the AI that after everybody dies, she's the AI that, like, oversaw the recreation of Earth, right? Mm-hmm. Named as Gaia, a Mother Earth, and when Elizabeth Sobek was training her, she was very interested in the dinosaurs and prehistoric creatures. Why did they go extinct? Look at these cool creatures. She was so fascinated by them. So to see machines modeled after these prehistoric creatures just kind of is really cool, because it's kind of like a tie back to the first game too. Like, we have a canon explanation as to why these machines look like dinosaurs. Like, they're not just dinosaur machines or a mammoth machine. Like, no, Gaia was like, I want to bring these extinct creatures back to life in this new world. And it's just so cool.
That's actually... So, this is why I'm glad that I'm doing this with you, because, like, I liked the story of Horizon, but I obviously did not dig nearly as deep as you did. And, like, for you to be able to extrapolate all of these things and be like, oh, well, this is explained by this, and this is explained by this, that's awesome.
They do such a good job. This is just, I really appreciate, like, the game, like, the storytellers on this game, because they tie up all these loose knots, because, like, in this game, we at one point we see the raptor dead, and, like, he's just laying there. I like that he just doesn't disappear, like, in other games, like, fallen enemies might.
He's got that.
But, like, in the first game, you've got the scrappers who are there cutting these dead machines apart, and, like, there's always an explanation as to why things just go away, and, like, it's so cool, like, how in-depth and how, like, detailed they are about those things. And, like, it carries through this game. Like, I loved that throughout her battle, there's the fallen
Velociraptor
that killed at the beginning of this fight with the Tremor Tusk. Like, I love it. I love it.
There's also goo.
Yeah, the new weapons from I can't remember what it's called. I think it's like a sling.
sling launcher or launch
something. Yeah, I can't remember from the top of my head.
shot?
Yeah.
It's sling something.
And the new...
I think, is it just slinger?
I have to look it up. I want to say slingshot. But I don't think that's right.
Anyways, the thing that shoots the things.
Yeah, the slingshot, basically. I like that. I'm really excited about this new. You've got that one, and then you got the smoke grenades that take out their vision. Like
that'll be useful. That says to me that stealth is going to be more prevalent in this game.
Stealth was a big one. Because I like to play stealth a lot of the time, especially with the human combat. Because to me, it's just easier to just go in there and take them out. I'm not one of those people that will be like, okay, coming in hot, let me just trigger
I would always try to go stealth, and then I would be seen immediately.
Right.
and then I have to just be...
Right, which I think they're doing a really good option, like a good expansion of different, like he said, paths and fighting styles that you want to go, which is nice. But yeah, the different, because, these machines in this game are going to be a lot bigger and a lot deadlier, and
based on what we've seen, right? I mean, there's a freaking mammoth.
Can I get a little nerdy again and explain why that's the case too?
Of course.
So, in the first game, they talk about the derangement of the machines, where years and years ago, these machines were just kind of docile, they didn't really pay attention to us, and they were really just the base machines, like the grazers and the striders. But at some point, and they talk about it in the beginning of Zero Dawn, the machines started getting deadlier and bigger and you got the sawtooths, and then you got the big giant freaking the T-Rex ones, oh my god, what are they called? I was talking about the Thunderjaws.
There we go.
Thunderjaws. So but nobody knows why they the program that makes the machines started making these deadlier and deadlier machines, which I think is really cool to see all these new machines, because it's going to have an explanation as to why these machines are deadlier and crazier, because this whatever it's making it do this, it hasn't stopped yet. So that's just that's why.
No, that's fine. By all means, please explain everything whenever you think of anything. But yeah, so you can shoot the goo things. I'm curious if there's an elemental factor to that. I can't remember. So when the mammoth thing is covered with the goo, did she shoot something that caught the goo on fire or caused an explosion, or am I
don't
losing
know,
my mind?
Because I know in the first game you could get your ammo for the slings
to have an elemental.
Because there's freeze, which would stop it from moving shortly, and then you have the fire, and because the machines had different weaknesses, and that's what you would use. But that I feel will just be not a sticky bomb, because there are bombs in the first game that would stick to them and explode, detonate after.
But impeding their movement.
Right.
But I'm wondering, since it's a goo that covers them, if you could then spread the elemental damage of a next attack.
I'm interested to see if they're going to incorporate that in other weapons too.
Yeah.
There's, in the previous games, there's, you put detonators down. Are there going to be, sticky detonators that you put down and it shoots out this stuff and covers them? Or, the trip wires. Is there going to be one like that that'll just shoot that out at them?
Trips.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really curious about all of that. I hope that we see more soon, because this is still pegged to release this year, allegedly. However... one of the downsides is there was not a release date.
Yeah.
They did not reveal a release date in the State of Play.
I'm not mad about that, though.
See, I'm not personally mad about that. However, I feel like the gaming
community
audience, they want a release date.
But let me tell you what happens when you do that. Fallout 76 happens when you set an impossible deadline.
Or really anything.
Or any game. There's so many game examples I could give where if there's a deadline, the game devs have to rush to meet that deadline. They can't make it a good game. And I personally would rather with this game, because if this game is not good, I'm going to be very sad. I'm not going to be angry. I'm not going to be jaded. I'm just going to be
sad.
just sad. Because how can you take the first game and then not make an amazing sequel to it? Like, the story, all the potential this game is there, and I feel like that's what they're wanting to do. They're not wanting to put their pressure on these game devs. They're wanting them to take their time. They're not take their time, they're wanting them to have the time they need to finish the game and make it, like, cherry on top, perfect ending. The first game had a great ending. It was just fantastic. I don't want this game to be an exception because they wanted to try to rush to meet some deadline.
Well, I certainly don't think that they're rushing.
I feel like they
feel
probably...
like they're... It seems like they're nailing it based on what I've seen.
What we've seen, yeah, absolutely. I even think that the gameplay mouth movement of the speech is even better than it was in the first game. So, like, if those details are washed out, I can't wait to see the rest of the games. And, like, in the trailers and, like, a little bit of what you saw, we didn't see him in the gameplay, but we saw, like, those pterodactyl machines and stuff, so I can't wait to see, like, more. And, like, the lead up to the gameplay, the state of play, they had a countdown, and it showed all these different scenes and worlds of the game.
And there was so much variety.
There's so much variety. And that's why I think we're going to go across North America.
Yeah, and it looked vast. Yeah. And I know that, like, you could probably take, like, a lot of screenshots of the first game and it would still appear vast. Right. But I'm curious, again, like, how big is this world going to be? How much of this are we going to explore? I think it looks promising from what we've seen. However, we've only seen a small sliver.
Right.
It seemed like what we saw was a little bit more linear. So I'm really curious about getting into the nitty-gritty details of the open world and the expansiveness of the world.
I hope we get to see, like, dystopian Vegas.
That would be cool.
That would be awesome.
I want to fight robot dinosaurs in a casino.
in a fallen casino, like, please. Especially because, like, I feel like there would be in the desert, like, it would have touched it, but because there's not much vegetation in the desert, what would there have been for the machines to get to, you know?
Yeah.
Like, in those kind of areas. But I think, like, Death Valley, San Francisco, I think LA is going to be highlighted in this game if you looked at the map. Mm-hmm. Because you have to figure we're traveling from Colorado. I don't know if that's where we're going to start. I'm curious to see where we're going to start.
Yeah.
In the game. Like, are we starting where this state of play is? How far is this state of play into the game? Is what I'm curious. Like, are we going to start from the Nora tribe from All Mother Mountain, or are we going to start...
travel all the way? Jeez.
Right, yeah.
Oh my god.
It'll be interesting.
So, with this gameplay reveal, it was recorded in real time on a PlayStation 5. Mm-hmm. The game is also coming out on the PlayStation 4.
Which I think they had to do with how hard it is to get a hold of a PlayStation 5.
Yeah, and some people are upset. They feel like releasing something on both generations of hardware is going to hold it back. I'm not too worried about it personally.
Yeah.
Because I want to be able to play it too.
Right.
And I don't have a PS5.
Yeah.
But there was information released from Game Informer where they have confirmed some of the differences between the PS4 and the PS5 versions.
Oh, I didn't know this.
So I actually forgot about it until just now.
Oh, perfect.
So I pulled it up. But the PS5 version is going to support a 60 frames per second performance mode. The PS5 version is going to have 3D audio and DualSense features. So there's going to be, the adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback, things like that. The PS5 is going to use a cinematic-grade lighting system. The PS4 is going to use that same lighting system in cutscenes, but it will not be active in gameplay.
Okay.
So there's going to be a little bit of a downgrade to the lighting. PS5 version is going to have special rendering techniques for underwater scenes. So there's probably going to be a noticeable visual downgrade going from PS4 for the water. And then the PS4 version, this is the most important part, I think. PS4 version should be largely identical beyond performance and graphics. So they're not going to be taking out any features of the game.
Right.
Gameplay is going to remain intact.
I wonder if you buy the game on a PS4, if it's going to carry over to your PS5 too. I would imagine so.
Well, since the PS5 is backwards compatible, you'll definitely be able to play the PS4 version on the PS5. Mm-hmm. But I don't know... I'm not confident that it'll be cross-buy Like,
Okay.
I don't know if one version will give you the other. But, I mean, I'm sure they're going to have to address that in the future and let us know.
I mean, because that would be kind of shitty if they made you buy 2 versions of the game.
Certain games still do that.
I know.
So, I mean, like, Final Fantasy VII Remake. I know that's not first party.
Yeah.
But still. But yeah, and the fact that there's no release date, though, even though I'm not, like, necessarily upset about it, it's a little bit concerning because when it was announced that this game was happening, when it was first revealed with the cinematic trailer, they said 2021. And around that same time, they also said God of War Ragnarok was coming out in 2021. And the most prevalent rumor is that God of War Ragnarok is not at all coming out in 2021. That they're not going to make that date. People are like, this is just a pipe dream. It's not going to happen.
Right.
I'm worried, what if that means that Horizon is also not coming out in 2021? Because they previously said 2021,
right.
But then this time,
nothing.
They didn't say a date.
Yeah.
And we're already halfway through the year.
Right.
So that's a little worrisome because so far the PS4 is doing fine, but PS5 does not have very many exclusive games. There's just Returnal and Ratchet and Clank.
Right. There's a drive to buy a PS5, but there's not the games there to drive that drive, if that makes sense. Like, everybody wants it because it's new.
It's not justified, really.
Right. Like, that's why we got the new Xbox over the new PlayStation, because I'm like, well, there's not really any games out. Like, Horizon was the game I was like, once that comes out, if it's a PS5 exclusive, we're getting it. Like,
see, I have a problem, though, because Ratchet and Clank was my game, where I'm like, once Ratchet and Clank comes out, I need a PS5.
Yeah.
But I can't get a PS5.
Right.
So it's like, but yeah, there's if this isn't able to come out this year, then literally the PS5 is an Insomniac machine, because Insomniac Games did Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Yeah.
And as far as, like, big hitting exclusives, there's the Demon's Souls remake and there's Returnal, but, like, the big hitters, that's basically it.
That's it.
Other than the pack-in game with Astrobot, which is phenomenal and the best game ever made. But, sorry, Astrobot is adorable.
It's fine. I trust your taste in games, so I kind of believe you.
If I had a PS5, I would make you play the pack-in. It's free, just built into the system, and it is perfection.
That's awesome.
But anyways, yeah, I'm really hoping that this comes out this fall, which I'm thinking is going to be the date.
I think this will come out. People are saying, like, holiday, which I think would be a good idea.
So, like, you think, like, November?
Yeah, okay. Probably November. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, by the end of the summer we got a release date.
Okay, all right. I'm hoping they do more of a deep dive into, like, the systems and...
Yeah.
I'm kind of a nerd. I like seeing menus. Like, when they show off a game, I want to see the menu.
Well, we got to see a little bit of the new, like, weapons wheel.
Yes.
In this, just a little bit. Like, we got a brief glance. It had 6 spots instead of 4. I'm so excited about that, which is amazing.
I love that you notice those details. That's so good.
Like, it's important. Like, as a player that loves this series, and, like, I've played it many times through because it's such a replayable game, too. Like, listen, it's just such a great game. If you have not played this game and you're I mean, I'm assuming anybody who's not played this game is listening this far in. Probably is like... I'm
going to put a disclaimer before this section to say, hey, there's spoilers.
The state of play and from Horizon Zero Dawn, too. Yeah. Fuck Ted Faro. That's all I have to say about the first game.
Okay.
Hey, he's the one that caused the end of the world, so that's justifiable.
I have mixed feelings about the end of the world. Like, on one hand, it sucks that, everything goes to hell and back, but also, we kind of deserve it.
I mean...
like, so it's kind of like...
You and I don't deserve it. The people up top kind of deserve it, but...
Well, no, I kind of deserve it as well. I'm a horrible person.
You know what else really pisses, speaking of people who are shitty...
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. How do you really feel? Jeez.
Because I was talking about Ted Faro, not you.
I'm like, I deserve this. Speaking of people who are shitty. Jeez.
People People are already pissed about this game.
Why?
Because they say Aloy looks too masculine.
Oh, Aloy has always been a shining example of perfection.
As a woman, and as a woman gamer, when I played Horizon Zero Dawn, and Aloy is just completely covered, she doesn't have her tits out, she doesn't have the skippy, she's not uber feminine. She is what somebody who does that kind of combat, who grew up in the wilds, she is what she is supposed to look like. And just to see that and, like, know that it's, like, great representation, and she is a badass, she has emotion to her, it's a great balance. She's not overly emotional. She doesn't have a love interest.
Yeah,
that's
Aloy. My biggest thing.
Yeah.
And she doesn't, even when, like, characters will, like, make a small, like, little reference or remark about her.
Or, like, you know, yeah, like, they'll kind of, like, make a pass at her and, like...
She completely blows it off. She's like, now...
Whatever. Like, don't have time for this. Like, I'm trying to save the world. This is not part of my mission. Like...
Aloy is an asexual queen.
She really love is. Her. And I would be all for her, like, them down the line, maybe, like, adding something to that. But I also love that they don't, because it's, like, let's focus on... other aspects of a female character. She's not there just to be a love interest.
Exactly.
She is there. She is the main character, damn it. And she's a badass, and she is strong, and I just love the little moments in the first game where she does feel this, like, emotion and, like, but it's an appropriate moment. She's not always, like, you know, like, sometimes in video games, you've got the damsels in distress. She's saving other men, and, like, it's just such a great feeling.
The whole entire game, she's saving men.
And, like, I love also, too... Yeah, in the state of play! She's saving Aaron in the state of play. I just, like, at the end of it, I was like, God, I just love her so much, because she takes out a Tremor Tusk with all these people by herself. Yeah. Alone, no help. She is just fantastic. And I just love, too, like, this game does such a good job of having other female examples of that. In the first game, there are other characters that are also strong females that are not sexualized, and it's amazing. And that is why I love this game so much. The story, the characters, they all seem very realistic and, like, very, like, human, and, like, it's fantastic. She's just... I want to get a tattoo of her eventually. Like, I just love her so much. That character.
I want to be friends with Aloy.
I do too.
I want to hang out with Aloy. I feel like I would be a better person if I had an Aloy in my life.
Like, how many people's lives she touches. It's in the first game too. Mm-hmm. Like, and now that
that's why, like, at the end when everyone comes together, it's kind of like,
oh my God, when everybody she helps shows up to help her, like. Great roundabout way. And, like, in this, too, I just love that Aaron is stuck with her, like, that... Because he was one of my favorite, side characters in the first game. Mm-hmm. And I love that they brought him back, like... And I think they're going to bring back other characters, too. They've talked about it. But, yeah, it's... The characterization in the game is great. I can't wait to see new characters and, like, what the different tribes are going to look like. Like, the Raiders look insane.
Yeah, I love their outfits.
I do, too. Yeah, their armor and their, like, weapons are, like, slightly different. And, like, I like that they have, like, the, thing on the back of the Tremor Tusk, like that.
Yeah, the little hut thing where they were, like, riding on the carriage or whatever.
Yep, yeah.
And then that was kind of cool. You could, like, destroy the carriage and, like, knock that down.
Yeah.
And things like that. So
it wasn't just kind of built in, like, because other games, sometimes, like, that kind of stuff is just still there. But in this game, when you're fighting the machines, they slowly degrade. Like, you can kind of see them, the bits, and they stay off. Like, it's really cool.
But, like, the people riding on it, they were also, like, calling out orders and firing and attacking. So there was just a lot of things going on.
You see kind of in the first game, but there's not anybody, like, using machines and riding them and using them to, like, battle.
Yeah.
Like, you'd see them, like, send, like, machines after you, but not like that. I'm also curious to see how the Raiders got their power to override the machines, too, because there's only 2 people in this world that know that and can teach it to people, and it's Aloy and Silence.
I mean, I'll bet money that...
Well, because at the end of the game, he captures Hades, and he walks away, and we don't know what happened to him.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be so interesting.
I want this game. I wish I knew how excited I need to be because, how long I have to wait.
Like, do I need to be really excited? Like, I mean, like, honestly, like, hopes high for this game. I don't care. Like, they're gonna be crushed, but...
Well, not. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we didn't really have high expectations for the first game because it was new.
Right. It's a new, like, series now. They know... I think they know, like, with their audience, like, we expect a lot because the first game was just so great. I'm so excited.
Kudos to Guerrilla.
I know.
They know what they're doing.
I feel like I've never really heard of them before any of the Horizon games.
It was just basically Killzone is what they were known for.
Gotcha.
And then with Horizon, they didn't just make Horizon Zero Dawn, they also made the engine, the Decima engine that it's in.
Oh, cool.
And that's the same game engine that Kojima Productions uses in Death Stranding.
Wow.
So when Kojima left Konami, random little bit of fun fact trivia, when Kojima left Konami, he was wanting to make his own studio, and he was shopping around to see what game engine he was going to use, and PlayStation was basically like, you got to check out Decima engine. He saw Horizon Zero Dawn, and he was like, I want that engine.
It's great.
And then, so they kind of collaborated, and so they kind of built the engine more together.
Yeah.
But really cool.
Really cool. Super cool. I want to play this game now.
I know.
I watch that, I'm like, damn it, I want to play it for myself.
Well, when it does come out, you can bet your ass that we are going to play it, and maybe we could play it together and do a little
when it
stream.
comes out, I plan on streaming the whole thing.
Okay.
So
and people can find you on Twitch.
Twitch at Hufflehug. Just Hufflehug.
Hufflehug. Like Hufflepuff, but Hufflehug.
Yeah. That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah. So yeah, and I'm also going to link to the Hufflehug Twitch profile, or I guess Twitch channel.
Twitch channel, yeah.
In the episode description for this. And yeah, also, you are going to hear more from Hufflehug in future More Than Friends things. This is, I guess technically this is your first appearance on a More Than Friends thing, but you are also going to be on the next episode of Podcast with Benefits, which will go up soon, a couple days after this episode goes live. And then after that, we're going to be doing some other collaborations and things, different projects that we're going to announce.
Steven, it's great to have on my streams on Twitch.
For those of you who haven't seen any of Hufflehug streams, we streamed What Remains of Edith Finch, and it's like
the most
one of my favorite games, but the fucking scene... There's a scene that involves a shark falling down a mountain.
And the rainbows knocking the rainbows over.
It's like, oh, pretty. Just obliterate the rainbows. God.
Clips are on my Twitch channel if you want reference.
Yeah, if you want to understand whatever the hell we're talking about, just go to Hufflehug's channel and you'll see it. Oh my god.
You can save those videos if you ever want to repost them.
I think I want to.
Because that was great. It was just chaos.
Do I have permission to, like... Can I upload them to the More Than Friends YouTube?
Absolutely.
And then I can link to your channel on there.
Yeah.
There we go. I'll put them on there too.
Yeah.
And then that way I can post them on all
good.
kinds of things. The fucking shark, though.
I went back and watched them the other day, like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh my god, this is hilarious. It was so funny.
When I first played that game and that happened, I'm like... I had no idea what to expect. Because that's another game where you just don't know what to expect. Because it's a game that's out of nowhere. And then... when all of that happens, really the entire game is just like,
it's just like, this is weird, but okay. Like,
you just kind of accept it.
You just kind of go with it. You're like, all right, like,
and somehow it makes sense.
Yeah,
and it's fine. Except the shark thing is still pretty random. But
just a shark rolling down a hill.
And the freaking narration. Suddenly, I was a shark. It's like, what?
And you pass that, just the car when you back and you.
God.
Just driving and it's raining sharks.
It's just another day.
I like that we're still laughing about it.
Because, like, the more you think about it, the more absurd it is.
It is, yeah.
I still can't help but imagine the poor guy driving the truck. Like,
I know.
What did he do after that? I want to know his story.
Can we have a game from his point of view? And how seeing the shark tumbling down the hill changed his life.
From then on, he was never the same.
The butterfly effect.
The sharkafly effect. That's dumb. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
The butter shark effect. There we go.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining me.
You're welcome. I could talk about this game for another half an hour.
Well, the next time that they do another gameplay reveal,
absolutely.
We're going to do another thing. We're going to go into all the details, and you can point out all the story things that I missed.
Yeah.
All right.
You should go back and play Zero Dawn.
I started playing the DLC, and
so good.
I need to finish playing it. That's going to be me going back to the first game.
Yeah.
Because I already platinumed the first game. I don't know if I have the patience.
You know, I've never
platinumed
or 100% the first game. Yeah, I'm working on it.
You've got to be close.
Yeah, there's a lot. It's all little things that I have to go back. The tedious shit.
Yeah.
I'm like,
for me, the last trophy that I got was the like fancy armor that you can get.
Oh,
that's like locked away in that thing.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I think it's just power armor.
Yeah, and you have to like collect the keys that are scattered around.
Yeah.
That was the last trophy that I got.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, this armor would have been helpful.
Right.
Playing the actual game.
Well, you can go back and play New Game Plus.
Yeah, they did add that. Maybe I will, actually. That gives me an excuse to play the game again.
And you go back and... I like doing the replays because you can go back and explore all the story elements and find all the little stories and little like sound bites and things from throughout the world. Again, I could talk about this game for two more hours.
Well, you need to platinum it. I need to finish the DLC, and we need to do this again when we find out more about Horizon Forbidden
West.
God, I almost said Forbidden Best. I'm already like, all right, this is the best game. All right, well, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime. And there will be more. But for now, thank you everyone for listening to Dual Senses. I know this episode is probably going to end up being a little longer than usual. But, yeah, it's fine. It's just more content.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. See y'all later. Love,
Bye.
love, love. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Dual Senses. You can support the show on www.mtfproductions.com/donate. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you for sharing, rating, and reviewing the show, and subscribing on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We will be back with another normal news episode, and we're going to be getting back to another normal schedule of releasing episodes every Monday. But yeah, thanks again. Love, love, love.